Atomfall is full of really cool Easter eggs. Some you might recognise immediately, and others you might not. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at 20-ish Easter eggs found in Atomfall. Now, I'm pretty sure that I've found all there is to find in this game, but if you think I haven't, then let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to check it out. Oh, and as things stand, we are just 57,000 subscribers away from 1 million. Which is insane, so if you haven't already, please consider clicking subscribe. Anyway, without further delay, let's get started. Right, let's begin today's video with a reference to another Rebellion developed game. Now, being from the UK, I can confirm that thankfully we don't have great white sharks in our waters. And we especially don't have zombified great white sharks. Well, it seems that the team at Rebellion weren't aware of this well-known fact, as at this location on the map, you can find this. So your eyes aren't deceiving you. This is a zombie great white shark. Now, the people of Wyndham don't seem too bothered by this, and perhaps that's because they've all played another Rebellion developed game, the really fun Zombie Army 4. You see, in that game you could also find a zombie great white shark, but that one was a little more aggressive. Now, when it comes to video game references, there is a certain British super spy who isn't referenced anywhere near enough. And no, I'm not talking about Austin Powers. For some reason, despite his long-lasting popularity, games just don't reference James Bond all that often. Well, they didn't until Atomfall came along. At this location on the map, you can find this. So this statue is missing its head, which given the current state of affairs in the world of Atomfall is the least of your concerns. Well, if we look towards the floor, we can find the statue's head along with a black bowler hat. Now, using my expert Easter egg hunting deduction skills, I've come to the conclusion that this is a reference to the 1964 James Bond movie Goldfinger. Goldfinger featured the infamous oddjob who could use his bowler hat to kill enemies, and on the odd occasion, pun not intended, to behead statues too. Now, given that Atomfall takes place in England, and given that Rebellion are an English-based studio, it really shouldn't be a surprise that there are plenty of English TV show references to find. But what is surprising is just how deep some of these cuts are. For example, inside the general store, you can find fork handles and fork handles. Now, that may have sounded like I was saying the same thing, but the items on the left are fork handles, and the items on the right are fork handles, as in handles for a pitchfork. This easy to misunderstand turn of phrase was the inspiration behind this classic sketch from the two Ronnies.
No, 4 candles.
Well, there you are, 4 candles.
No, 4 candles. Handles for forks.
In the same store, you can also find the shopkeeper's birdcage, though it seems he hasn't noticed that his bird has flown to the big bird's nest in the sky. On a nearby shelf, you can even find 2 more of the exact same bird, so perhaps he has noticed but hasn't had time to replace it yet. Anyway, this is a reference to this sketch from Monty Python.
Polly! Polly! Polly Parrot, wake up! Polly!
So let's stick with John Cleese for this next Easter egg. The Meerview Hotel is looking pretty run down, but this part of the country is hardly a tourist hotspot right now. Well, this hotel is actually a reference to Fawlty Towers, a TV show starring John Cleese as an eccentric but rude hotel owner. To hammer home the reference, the sign at the front of the hotel has a wonky last letter, just like the Fawlty Towers sign did in the show. Now, I know that references to British TV shows from the 60s and 70s may have lost some of you, so let's take a break from those and take a look at a comic book reference instead. At this location on the map in an underground bunker, you can find this. So this helmet is a reference to Judge Dredd, who along with James Bond is another character neglected by video game Easter eggs. Now, with the lack of ammo in Atomfall, melee combat is a pretty reliable way to take down enemies. However, if you think that wading in with your fists will get the job done, then you're wrong. I mean, sure, you can knock out a couple of people with your bare hands, but for bigger groups you're going to want something that can cause some real damage. Well, I might have just the thing. At this location on the map, you can find this. Now, I know what you're thinking, and no, you didn't just pull a sword from a stone. Despite how it looks, you actually snapped the sword in half, which makes a bad day even worse. Anyway, on the bright side of things, you can still use the half of the sword that you do have to attack enemies, and despite being half as good as it could have been, it still gets the job done. Speaking of broken swords, you'll understand that segue in a minute. Let's pay a visit to Wyndham's church. Here you can find all the usual church things, like Bibles, benches, and dead girls impaled with wooden stakes. Well, if you head into the catacombs, you can find a grave belonging to George Buckminster Stobbart, aka the main character of the Broken Sword games. See, I told you that segue would make sense. Right, let's get back to the British TV show references now, though this next Easter egg is one that a lot of people can recognise and enjoy. At this location on the map, you can find this. So this is as close as you're able to get to what is admittedly a very strange sight. But if you use Atomfall's camera mode, we can get a better look at a skeleton riding on top of a car while sitting in a very comfortable looking chair. Now, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you got this reference already. But if you didn't, this is a nod to this scene from Mr. Bean. Up next, at this location on the map, you can find this. Now, can I be honest for a second? When I first found this, I thought that it was a reference to the excellent 1993 movie Cool Runnings. But after consulting with some Discord folk, I soon learnt that this is a reference to the Last of the Summer Wine. In the show, 3 older gentlemen need to deliver a boat to a lady, though things don't go as planned. To hammer home the reference, the hats that the skeletons are wearing are the same hats worn by the 3 men in the show. Now, as I'm sure that you've already worked out, there are loads of English TV show references in Atomfall. So many in fact that I might be seeing references where there are none. You see, at Datlow Hall you can find a smashed chandelier on the floor. And because I've been smacked over the head with so many TV show references already, my mind immediately went to this classic scene from Only Fools and Horses. Now, I know that I could be reaching here. That's what hours spent watching old TV will do to a man. But if you think I'm onto something, then let me know in the comments. So when it comes to recognisable British TV shows, you could argue that none are as popular as Doctor Who. So of course, Atomfall has a go at referencing that too. In Skethermore, you can find this blue police box perched way off in the distance. I mean, it sure does look like Doctor Who's TARDIS, but who could be certain at this range? After getting a little closer, it seems that our initial theory was right. But it's still best to get a closer look. Well, as you make your way up towards our would-be TARDIS, this will happen. So after hearing the telltale sound of the TARDIS taking off, when you finally reach it, it's gone. In fact, all that's left behind is this cap, which looks like the same cap worn by Tom Baker, who played the 4th Doctor. The final British TV referencing Easter egg that I found can be seen at the Grendel's Head pub. If you head upstairs, you can find a plaque on the wall listing the names of other pubs who have won a darts tournament. From bottom to top, we have the Green Man Inn, which is the pub from The Wicker Man, the Nag's Head, which is from Only Fools and Horses, which does lend credibility to my chandelier theory from earlier. Next up, we have the Queen Victoria, which is the pub from EastEnders, the Woolpack is from Emmerdale, and the Rover's Return is from Coronation Street. Again, if you aren't British, this means absolutely nothing to you. If you are British, you probably recognise at least one of these names. Oh, and the Green Man Inn isn't the only reference to the Wicker Man found in Atomfall. When you enter Casterfell Woods, it's kind of hard to miss this giant statue looming over the area. This is a reference to the Wicker Man, and you can climb in its butt to get a better look of its insides. I mean, there's not much here, apart from a wicker basket, because of course there is. So we're staying in Casterfell Woods for this next Easter egg, and just like the bathtub that we found earlier, it's more skeletons having fun. So these 3 cars are a reference to the 1969 movie The Italian Job, where Mini Coopers of the same colour were used as getaway vehicles. The final Easter egg for today's video can be found in an abandoned Protocol workshop. After taking out the pesky rats, you can find a picture of a lion, a picture of a witch, and an old wardrobe. Well, if you press the button behind this picture, this will happen. Okay, so it's not quite Narnia, but this Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe Easter egg will reward you with a Bard crate, and I know which one I'd prefer. Yeah, I'd still prefer to go to Narnia. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, then leaving a like is really appreciated. If you want to join my Patreon-only Discord server, the link to do that is in the description. And remember, if you are a fan of Easter eggs and secrets in games, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel is all about. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.